What is up, guys? What's going on? I think this makes like 3 days in a row, so I think I'm getting the hang of this. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. If you want to support what we do, we just launched channel memberships. So for the low price of $3 a month, you can support this channel, support independent voices, very important. And if you look on the links in the chat, you can go ahead and, excuse me, I did put some links in the chat, but also in the description of this video, you can go ahead and subscribe to my Substack, where I report on various independent journalism topics, foreign intelligence, money laundering, things like that. All kinds of interesting stuff. I'll never put up a paywall. It will always be free, but of course, support is always appreciated. Let me know how you're doing. It's Friday. I hope you guys have the weekend off. I don't get too much time off, but I try to, relax. I think it's important now. You got to take as much time as you can. Some stressful times. Open up the paper, you feel your blood pressure going up a little bit, so you got to just kind of take a break, ease out a little bit. I appreciate you guys watching. This is it's a lot of fun for me. It's helping me also relieve a little stress. These are some tough times. So, and feel free to send suggestions about things you want to talk about or topics you're interested in. I'll go ahead and put my email here in the chat. It's ericlevai@proton.me. And on the journalism tip, let's see if there's any like a tip or something you feel I should know about. You can use the Signal app, and it is EML.07 on Signal. Email is fine too, by the way. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing well out here in California. It's a beautiful day. If the weather is not good where you are, I know there's a lot of bad weather out there. So I hope you guys are safe and well. I've got about an hour before I have somewhere to be. So I say we get right into it. If you check out the chat, first of all, I went ahead and put in the link to tomorrow's protest. It's called Hands Off. I'm sure there's one in your community. There's one everywhere. So go ahead and check that out. I think it's important to make your voice heard peacefully. And, that's a very important part of our democratic process. And in an age where they're trying to take that away from us, this current administration, you need to go ahead and express yourself. I think there's going to be massive turnout. And of course, this is not the first one, nor this is the last one. So yeah, I hope you guys have if you have any interesting weekend plans, let me know. I'm always interested in that. Otherwise, we can go ahead and jump right into it. So we got the protest tomorrow. Also, interestingly, let me go ahead and put this in the chat. Looks like ACLU sort of has they're going to do a little seminar on safety at protests. It just looked interesting. I happened to stumble upon this, so I'll put that in the chat too. And let me go ahead and just share this real quick. Look, these things are, it's called Know Your Rights. This is the important part. Looks like it's 8 p.m. EST tonight. You learn your rights when protesting, interacting with law enforcement, your rights interacting with immigration agents. Very important topic right now. How to protect yourself in high-risk situations, key actions you can take to defend freedoms. The First Amendment guarantees everyone the right to express their views, etc. All right, so you guys get it. I actually think that'd be an interesting thing to talk about on maybe a separate video, just how to protect yourself at a protest. And I'm going to make a mental note. If my mod is watching SPTV, Tattoo Warrior, if you could make a note so I don't forget, because I probably will forget. We can talk about that. If anyone has any of their own tips, you can go ahead and drop that in the chat. You got to keep yourself safe. There's a lot of ways to do that, and we can talk about that on another video. All right, what else do we got? So it's very important. Let me tell you this too. Working as a journalist, I can tell you by using your head, you can usually get out of almost any situation safely. Uh, a lot of it is just using your head and being careful, which is more important now than ever. But we can talk about all that stuff on another one. I wanted to actually talk about this first, which is that, as you probably saw, the head of the NSA has been fired. So let's go ahead and share that, which is frankly pretty insane, if I could say. So basically, they've ousted the head of the NSA, and he also ran Cyber Command, General Timothy D. Haw. Unfortunately for all of us, the reason for this was that the request came from Laura Loomer, who's a far right activist and a person who's been banned from, incidentally, who's been banned from almost every single platform, including, I think, Uber Eats. Pretty crazy. I'm interested in your thoughts on that. It just shows kind of, I guess, how crazy these times are that we're in, that somebody like that has an ear to the White House. Zippy, what's going on? Mind blowing. Appreciate you commenting. As I learn how to do this, I'm also learning what times are good for people, and appreciate you coming in. It seems like the afternoon. I know a lot of people are at work, things like that. Zippy said, just adds to the national embarrassment. Yep, that's right. That's why I hope this weekend everybody takes, if you're not working, you take a little time to do something else. Yeah, appreciate you commenting, because me personally, especially having an improv background, I work best off a conversation. That's what I want this show to be. Otherwise, I'm basically just rambling, and that's fine. That's fine too. But if we're going to solve these problems together, appreciate what you guys have to say. It is embarrassing. I know we've been numb to it for a while. I think we don't want to get too numb, right? Which is why tomorrow I say, if you can, if you're able to and you want to, go out, check out the hands-off protests. They're going to be everywhere. It's going to be, they're mad. They're really mad, and they're going to be out there in the street. Zippy said, I'm protesting tomorrow, trying to figure out a short, powerful statement from a sign. Awesome. I put my email in the chat. I'll do it again, but if you want, send us the sign or tell us how it went. So tomorrow, even as I'm telling everyone else, I want to cover the protest tomorrow. I have something else that I might have to do, which I can't avoid. So what I'm thinking is maybe I'll get up early and maybe I can do some kind of multi-stream, or at least cover it in that way from home if I can't be there. You do the best you can. And I learned to not beat myself up too much. You can't be everywhere at everything, but I do cover, protests. So out here in LA, the big one is downtown. I think it's by Pershing Square, but they're, if you go to that website, they're everywhere. So, yeah, if you want to send us a picture of your sign, and we'll put it up on the show. And as always, guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, like I said, I'm really interested in people's experiences, and if you're out there, let us know what it's like. But it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. I don't know what because this has been going on since 2016. It's been like a nonstop. By the way, I noticed, so a lot of people originally subscribed to this channel, I know, because when I was covering the Scientology protests. By the way, on that note, so a bunch of billboards just went up. I wonder if we could actually let me see if I can actually pull that up. That was kind of interesting. I didn't plan on showing that, but let me go ahead and actually pull that up. So let me pull up Jess Palmades's tweet. We'll go ahead and pull this up real quick. All right, so you guys know Jess. She's an influencer and a streamer and a really nice person. I met her when I was covering the Scientology protests. So basically, a bunch of billboards just went up, and rest in peace, by the way, Mike Rinder. You guys may or may not know who he is. He was a prominent anti-Scientology activist and a former member. So anyway, it looks like a bunch of Mike has passed away recently, and they got some new billboards that just went up around LA. I think I heard there's like 20. And they got a quote here: "The difference between a religion and a cult is what happens when you try to leave." Mike Rinder. And then it promotes the this foundation, the Aftermath Foundation, which helps people sort of try to get out of Scientology. So anyway, yeah, so those are up, and it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly where Jess took that photo, but last time they put some of them up near Scientology buildings. Anyway, the reason I even thought about that was that a lot of people who joined this channel originally joined because I was covering Scientology protests and because I wrote about the loans that they got during the pandemic. And then I could see a brief exodus in the last couple of days when there's obviously some people who also are likely very conservative who are I got some extremely angry comments on the other video. First of all, I couldn't care less, by the way. If you follow me for a while, you could tell I'm making a little bit of a change. As always, I'm adapting to what's going on. My feeling is that traditional reporting is not cutting it right now. So I've decided to shift my own tactics a little bit, and I'm putting myself out there. That's going to lose subscribers at first, I think. But in the long run, I think we're going to gain a lot of subscribers. That's my belief. So I'm willing to take a few hits in the beginning. And while we have a voice, we're going to express it, right? So I'll still do my reporting. I'll still do my stuff outside of this, but like they say in Field of Dreams, right? If you build it, they will come. I also want to get some new interview guests on. I know I talked about Kat Abu Ghazaleh, who's running for office. I want to get her on, so I'll reach out to her. And if you have any guests or people you think might be good for the show, let me know. I know it's always more interesting to hear a conversation with other people. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe, as always. So yeah, I hope you guys are out there this week. I know it's going to be interesting. It is also funny being the guy behind the mic. Like, I've done podcasts and stuff like that, but especially after so many years of investigating, like usually ranting conservative lunatics who were, I'm not talking about just people expressing their opinions, but people who sometimes went too far. In various jobs I've had where I would be observing at these people screaming behind a mic before they went out in the street and did something very bad. So it's just kind of it's trippy a little being on YouTube. Of course, I'm not a complete lunatic, so I guess there are some differences there. All right, what else we got here? So yeah, as I said, Trump fired the head of the NSA, a person who reporting suggests was fairly nonpartisan, or as much as you can get these days. I'll go ahead and I shared it already, but I'm just going to go ahead and share that again for people who are coming in. So he's been fired. No reasons given. As they said, Laura Loomer, a lunatic far-right activist who by the way, she pretends she's a journalist. That's one of the most irritating things about the last couple of years is the especially for those of us who actually do the job and we do it well and we do it fairly, is to see that now everybody's a journalist. Like how many people who attacked the U.S. Capitol you tried to pretend they were journalists? There was a bunch of people who tried to do that. And like with absurd suggestions, like you're wearing first of all, like you wear like a MAGA hat, You're right away. You're not a journalist, and that goes for other political philosophies too. You can't roll out there with like a campaign, any kind of political thing, and then pretend you're doing like journalism while attacking the U.S. Capitol. By the way, I don't. Let me see if I can pull up. As much as I don't want to do this, let me pull up Loomer's profile. Just want to make sure there's nothing. Oh God! All right, I'll pull it up. Just hang on. It's just like so like irritating. Here we go. Look at this. Wait, can I zoom in? Investigative journalist. Investigative journalist. You know, she got her start doing these ridiculous stunts with James O'Keefe, another fake journalist. So that's what we're dealing with now. Never and Aaron, welcome. Never and Aaron said a judge ordered return of the Maryland man who was wrongfully imprisoned. I'm glad to hear that. Do you know if they've taken any steps to get him back? Because I know that, by the way, this stuff about, it's crazy now. I read another story that judges are, I think it was about funding, maybe for the National Archives or something. A judge said, you can't take this funding. You have to give the funding back. You didn't have a right to take it away, and they just didn't do it. And that's the problem. I was thinking about this last night, right before I got less than the required amount of sleep as usual, because of everything that's going on. See, the next step when a judge's orders are refused, the next step in a normal country is that an arrest warrant is issued. Take yourself, anybody in this chat or whatever, judge tells you to do something, you don't do it, you're under arrest, for the most part. But that's not happening now. And that means then every time that happens, our society is weakened a little bit. Every time that happens where there's no consequences. I've spent my life working, not just in journalism, but in the private sector, where I worked in investigations and, protecting elections and other things. I always would push the concept of consequences on my bosses and stuff, till I annoyed them. Because what's the point of doing it if there's no consequence? It's nothing will matter. Zippy said, yeah, but the admin says they can't bring him back. Right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The next step is you issue an arrest warrant for the people who aren't following the law. I mean, that's what it is. Zippy said liberty and justice for some. Now this stuff is look what's going on in Korea right now, in South Korea. Their president tried to overthrow the government. He was arrested, and now he's been impeached, right? And so the next time, it's going to be harder for the next leader to do that. This country went very wrong. One of the worst mistakes was the Ford pardoning Richard Nixon. That led us directly where we are today. They made up an excuse where they said the country had to move on, which is just a form of gaslighting. The country is fine, or was. The country would have been fine. But by not doing that directly led to a lot of different nonsense with the first Bush. By the way, breaking the law occurs across parties. I mean, probably almost every president has egregiously violated some kind of law, but one party seems to do it a lot more. And now we have a totally lawless president, right? No one's stopping him. You guys just said in the chat yourself. Never and Aaron said a judge ordered the return of the Maryland man. And then Zippy said the admin said they can't bring him back. They can't bring him back. So I also have to, I set an alarm because, first of all, I need to do this earlier because at the 1 o'clock on the dot, I have to be out. So I set an alarm because otherwise I'll just keep talking and forget about the things that I need to do. So Zippy said, we have all learned some men are in fact above the law. You put men in quotations. That's true. because these aren't men, right? Why don't we go ahead and lead that into the way I titled this video? You want to talk about not a man in the sense of let's go ahead and share this right here. I'm not too much into, like, I really don't like to make. Here we go. HuffPost. Trump skips return of dead U.S. soldiers to play golf and boost his business instead, by SV Date. Good reporter. So you guys know what happened today. The 4 U.S. soldiers who tragically died in an accident, I believe in Lithuania, were returned to the United States. And he's not there, right? I don't want to even go on and on about this because I know it just riles. Well, it should rile you up, right? But he's playing golf, and on top of that, as if it's not bad enough, he's meeting. It's a meeting with I think the Live Golf Tournament, which is the Saudi-run golf tournament, who cut a journalist into pieces, right? An American journalist, Jamal Khashoggi. So that's who this guy is, just playing golf. It really is. It really is something. It's a cult. It's a cult. They're not gonna. There's not gonna be any blowback from the Republicans. That's sad, man. That is so sad. Zippy said letting Nixon and Clinton off with consequences for the proven crimes is part of the reason we're in this situation now. Yeah, every president in some way has violated the law. Obviously, some are worse than others. Never and Aaron said, what do you think about the administration? Be more upset about this or the stock market news? Stock market. Yeah, that's where you could tell there's a little bit of a, like, even these like fascist type reporters like Maria Bartiromo and these ones who jumped on the fascist train, right? They see an opportunity. As we've seen throughout history, there's people who they kind of will jump on that train to try to enrich themselves. But even as they see their own, as the markets tumble, they see their own money, they're being personally impacted, but it gets harder for them. It gets harder for them to try to justify this. And since all these people care about is money, I mean, you're going to see some real gaslighting coming up because they have to explain this. Now, with the jobs report that's out today, so what they're going to do is, I'll share this. So the jobs report, as you guys saw, was better than expected, and that's a good thing, right? But how can any sane person say that any of this is going to last? It's not going to last. And I'm no economist, but Trump has been president for 2 months, so it's pretty suspect to say that this is something that he did, right? Let's see what the jobs report is, by the way, for April and May and June. I tell you what, I'm not the nervous type usually, but I do find myself, like with this and with some other stuff, I do find myself absolutely waking up in a cold sweat at least once a night. You might as well. And that's not me. I usually keep my cool, but I can't that much anymore. It's hard. Zippy said oligarchs drive stock prices down, buy stock when. Yeah, I wonder how many, on that note, shady deals are going on right now. How many shady, just things that some that will never come out about what these guys are doing to make money. OCCRP is the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, which is a really good organization. They've been publishing some good stuff lately. I don't know why I just kind of thought of that, but like they had a recent story about Trump loosened. He removed sanctions on an oligarch. Put OCCRP in here. If you guys don't, check those guys out. They do really good work. Maybe I'll share that real quick. They just do excellent work. Fascinating articles. Look at this. Western banks sent millions in cash to Russia on eve of Ukraine invasion. What's this one? Swiss court uphold bribery conviction for billionaire Benny Steinmetz. I love these guys. They just hit people. They hit people where it hurts, and that's what makes them so good. They just rolled out this new. They have this investigative data platform which I wasn't even familiar with. It's called Aleph, and it's for anybody. You can basically search through this, get story ideas. It's open source. They basically pushed all their data together. You guys see that? So it's an archive. Try searching Vladimir Putin, Talia Sonera. It's interesting stuff. I kind of like almost got distracted, and I was like, I could just like, I actually like kind of want to, like, no joke. I actually kind of want to like go back to that and just see like what. Just for a second. I don't want to bore anybody here, but all right. What happens if we put in Vladimir Putin? I'm interested in this. Whoa. Oh, nice. Look at this. Global sanctions database. Awesome. So it looks like they basically culled all their data that they're willing to put together publicly, and then you can search for it. By the way, I don't think I can play this because I'm always navigating YouTube's content platform. But did you guys see that? It looks like Sam Cedar went on this. I've never even heard of this guy, Patrick Bet David. He's some like right wing podcaster, and it looks like for the second time in 2 months, Sam Cedar has made a fool out of a group of conservatives. I'll see if I can. Like, I'm not going to play the video, but maybe I could just pull up a tweet. Like yeah. So we'll just pull this up here. I watched this earlier. I'll put the link in the chat. Actually, you guys can watch it for yourself. So he went on there, and again, it's so much better when you play the video. But he went on there, and as usual, he was prepared, and he just called them out on this complete misinformation that they pushed a couple weeks ago about Social Security. And then they just started. He's just a lot smarter than them, so they started kind of like arguing with him. But it was like a really good clip. That and the one I know you guys saw this a couple weeks ago, where it was like some arena type fight. He debated like 30. By the way, why any young person is very conservative is just that's always been crazy to me, because there's really nothing there for anybody except the oligarchs, right? Those are the only people that typically benefit from Republican philosophy in this country, and concerningly, some powerful Democrats these days. But that's a longer conversation. But anyway, Sam just made a fool out of these people. Zippy said, "Cool, Eric's info, Aaron. Didn't mean cool about your sleep apnea." Oh, absolutely. Never and Aaron said, "Sanction a country that no one lives in." He sanctioned a country that no one lives in. Which one? I think I might have missed that. But if you're talking about Trump, I know that he sanctioned a couple islands or something. Like there's a couple like remote, because they were talking about that in the context of that Russia was not sanctioned. And by the way, they've been pushing. I'm sorry, with the tariffs. That's what I mean. That there were no tariffs on Russia. So I did hear Zippy said the Penguins. I did hear about the the Penguins. Oh man. Zippy said Hurd and McDonald or something like that. Cool. I know the one. I know the stream we did on Sunday. It was like at 9 o'clock, and I know there were a substantial amount of people in there. So I don't know if I have to adjust the time. I'm always like figuring things out. And I know that people like interviews, so I'm going to try to push more of those. But I think I got to be consistent. The people I know who are successful at this seem to do it consistently. And like I said, I think if we just keep doing this, build it up. Yeah, let's see what else we got on the calendar here. I can't believe he fired the head of the NSA for Laura Loomer. Scary. Wasn't there some period where she like Politico or one of these inside baseball type publications said that she was out? Remember that? No, no more. That's why when they had the reporting about Elon Musk the other day, like that he was going to be leaving, it's like, okay, like really? I do want to highlight one thing in the story about Trump playing golf as our soldiers are returned to the United States. One thing that I was a little, oops, I was like, it's a good story. I was a little disappointed though in one thing. I was actually surprised because you don't usually see this in HuffPost, and I like the reporter here. He's a good reporter. So they quoted a Trump administration official on a condition of anonymity. Let me say something about that first. In reporting, you only grant anonymity if it adds something to the public's understanding and the person is at some kind of risk. Did it? Did I just lose myself on the broadcast? Let me know if you guys can see and hear me. Okay, that was crazy. It just like dropped the whole thing. Just someone let me know so I can continue with confidence and that there's no technical problem. Thanks, Zippy. That was weird. I like totally closed the window, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Zippy said, "Didn't she chain herself to Twitter doors when her account was terminated?" Yeah. Thanks, Never and Aaron. Yeah, I hit back on for some reason and it just like disappeared. Yeah, she chained herself to the doors of Twitter. That's what she was known for. That's why it's so annoying that she pretends to be. I mean, no one obviously takes her seriously as a journalist, but it is just like annoying. Yeah, she was known for these stunts. I actually went back and looked at. Some of her, like her past before I went on here, because I kind of like didn't remember exactly how she started and yeah, it was just stunts and like stuff with James O'Keefe, the other idiot from Project Veritas. Yeah, let me go ahead and I'm going to carefully try to share that HuffPost article. See, I was a little disappointed about this part. A Trump administration official on condition of anonymity said the families requested no media at the transfer. That's bullshit, by the way. The families didn't say anything to them about this. The families didn't talk to them because this administration doesn't give a shit. Let's be honest. They just didn't. Trump just didn't want to be there. Go back to that. Trump administration said families requested no media, and the White House is respecting the. Jesus. They're not even answering the question, by the way. That's not what they were. What the article is about, why wasn't Trump there? Like, no one even asked about the media. It's like complete bullshit. Go back to that. Trump administration said families requested no media, and the White House is respecting the. Jesus. They're not even answering the question, by the way. That's not what they were. What the article is about, why wasn't Trump there? Like, no one even asked about the media. It's like complete bullshit. And then, as he notes, presidents have attended dignified transfers while the press pool has been held in another location, etc. So I was a little disappointed that they quoted an anonymous official in what seemed like an obvious lie. It doesn't add anything to the story. So, but I'm sympathetic. I'm sympathetic because like reporting is the first act of, what do they call it? The first draft of history. So you make mistakes sometimes, or it's, there's a deadline. You can't wait 2 weeks to put a story like this out. It has to come out basically right away. Trump did think it would be a bad photo op. That's a great point, because as has been shown numerous times, he believes that U.S. soldiers who die in battle are losers. That's not me. That's literally what he says, right? Remember when he went to the beach when we went to Normandy? I mean, the man is such a disgrace. It's like, we never saw anybody like this, right? Like, you never knew anybody in your personal life who thought U.S. soldiers who died in World War II were a disgrace. I don't think anyone. I don't know if anyone. I mean, he's just a unique kind of evil, right? He's a unique kind of evil. Maybe the most evil person who's ever led this country. That's for sure. I mean, I can think of a few more evil people, but it's a short list, right? But he's a really unique kind of evil. I can think of like 2 or 3 more people who might be worse. Like a very short list. So I agree with Zippy. I can think of like 5 people. I agree with Zippy. It's he did think it would be a bad photo op, and he just doesn't care. I also think deep down, as someone who dodged the draft himself 5 times, there's a deep inadequacy, right? They've made the ultimate sacrifice as a soldier, and he's never sacrificed anything to anybody. Zippy said it's the same psychopathy as him paying 0 taxes makes him smart. Yeah. I've always said that in an alternate universe, without his father's enormous money, right? Because his father gave him over his lifetime. How much did his dad give him? Like 400 million or some insane amount of money when adjusted for inflation. Without that, in another lifetime, an alternate universe, he's running a car dealership in New Jersey. That's the other Donald Trump. On the side of Route 3 somewhere or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm from the East Coast. So I know those areas really well. That's the alternate universe. Unfortunately, we're not in that universe. We're in this universe. Oh, man. When we talk about accountability, had he ever been held accountable for many of those crimes, the tax crimes and all that stuff, what kind of world would we be in right now? If the Gaming Commission really, remember that old report they wrote? I don't remember the report exactly, but they basically knew he was affiliated with the mafia, right? But he still got, I think, his casino license, right? So at every step of the way, there was just this lack of accountability. What else do we have on the? By the way, Laura Loomer is in. I guess she's suing Bill Maher for defamation, and maybe we can go ahead and briefly share that. So she's allegedly. By the way, you always want to use allegedly with someone like that, just because they lie so much. She's allegedly in Beverly Hills today, where they said they're allegedly deposing Bill Maher. That may or may not be true. So I guess she's suing him for, and she's also like nonstop tweeting about it because, of course, right? My deposition of Bill Maher in Beverly Hills, California begins in 10 minutes. I'm suing him for defamation. By the way, one thing your lawyer, any lawyer tells you is don't do stuff like that. Basically shut up and let the lawyer do the talking, but these people like can never do that. I'm not exactly sure what her claim is. I think I know what it is, but let's just hope that Maher files an anti-slap and maybe wins some money or something. Like, I'm sure his First Amendment attorneys are quite good, and he's faced a lot of lawsuits. I have my disagreements, certainly with some things that Bill Maher has said, but um, Loomer is a bad person who lies and hurts people. She's a bigot and she's a liar. So forget about her. Wait, what is she saying here though? I'm suing for defamation. Oh, here's the other one. Oh, Larry Klayman is her lawyer. That name sounds very. Let me ask you guys something. Does this look like? Can I make that bigger? Does this look like the press release of a? It's not big enough. Does this look like the press release of a serious person? Trump and Loomer hater Bill Maher to be deposed today. Leftist political pundit has already lost motion to dismiss in defamation case. And she just kind of. If my lawyer wrote something like that, I'd be like, excuse me. Like, what's going on here, man? Let me just stop sharing. God, that is ridiculous. Yeah, Zippy said, is he a leftist? These days, I used to be a big fan. I used to be a big fan of Bill Maher. I watched him a lot. Always, there were things I didn't agree with, but I'll just, since we brought it up, I'm just going to talk about it real quick. I think that, sorry, I think COVID broke him, honestly. Something was markedly different after that. And it's a shame because, like I said, there were things that I always disagree with, but he really could be on point. And something is, there's an anger there now that was not there before. Anger is an important part of anything. It's an important part of what I'm doing right here, or what a great comedian does, or whatever. But something is different now. And it's a shame, honestly. It's a shame. Because he had some pretty great moments, and every once in a while there's something still. But we added Twitch to the multi-stream, so it's funny. Last time, if you guys were watching, there's just like one or two weird comments, and when I went back later to see where they came from, because typically these streams, because they're horizontal, the way the algorithm works, it doesn't actually attract as many weirdos. But anyway, when I went back to see where they came from, it was from Twitch. So Zippy said, no, you're not weird. The person on the other stream who happened to come from Twitch was weird. Absolutely not. And welcome. I just thought that was interesting because I don't know that much about Twitch. That's a new platform to me. So I was like, I wonder if they pushed it out to some strange people or whatever. By the way, I'm weird too. Thank you for joining. Dinesh, appreciate you. No, and I apologize to the Twitch platform for the person from last time. All right, guys, I got like 15 minutes. All right, let's get back into it. What else do we have here? Let me go back and read some of these comments. Yeah, I know, Zippy, I just read that, but Zippy said, I've forgotten why I stopped listening to him. Yeah, at one point, I just kind of stopped listening too. It's kind of like, actually was sad. I was like, oh, I haven't listened to this show. And it's like when I stopped watching Saturday Night Live at some point, I just wasn't interested anymore. Not that they don't have their moments. All right, what else do we got here? So we went through Sam Cedar and Patrick Bet David. Check that out, and check out Sam's last thing where he took on like 30 conservatives. That was one of the weirdest. Do we have a photo of that? I can't play the video because of what we talked about with the copyright stuff. But do you guys remember that where it was like this like round table thing, like a Mortal Kombat? Zippy said John Stewart is still raising good hell. Yeah. Yeah, he's on once a week now, right? He's killing it. And we need him. We need him. We need everybody. Maybe I'll actually, since I have to be on my way, I can kind of like wrap that up, but we'll end with that. I'm just going to see if there's any Cash Patel. Nah, we'll skip that. I'll put the rally in one more time though. And as I said, if you guys go to the rally, Zippy's going, rest of you, let me know. And you can also send me pictures or even just your experience. And I'm thinking maybe on the next show, maybe like Sunday, I'll play some of them. I want to wish you guys well. Like, comment, subscribe. You guys can join as a member for the low cup of coffee price, $3. I wish you guys well. Never and Aaron said one of the commentators who espoused anti-immigration talking points turned out to be from Canada. Yeah, I remember that. We're talking about the Sam Cedar thing. That was, by the way, I've met him a couple times. Like he's like, and putting this out there, if you ever need a fill-in host, it's ericlevai right here. He's a super nice guy. I met him at Politicon, and he was actually debating Charlie Kirk, I think, at that one. And then I talked to him for a while afterwards. He's a super nice guy, and I think I met him after that too. He's a sharp guy. Like he knows, and I'm glad. I mean, he's been successful for a long time, but it's nice to see with some of these recent things, which do carry some risk for him, right? Because yeah, he's smart in them, of course, but this kind of stuff, like live stuff, especially, it's a high wire act because you can make a mistake or some bad faith actor can re-edit something, So there is risk involved, especially when you're have your own successful operation, and it's nice to see that one guy though. I know that's the one you're talking about, Never and Aaron, or that might have been one was like a straight up white supremacist. That might be it. It was a woman with blonde hair. And it was just like, that's not like surprising that happened, but I think she wrote for Rebel News. Anyway, so it was great to see Sam out there and doing that. I really wish, kind of like almost want to go out on a photo of that guy if I could just find it. Never Aaron said, all right, I'm not going to look for it now. All right, guys, look, remember to like, comment, subscribe, support the channel. Have a great weekend. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to go live, and maybe I'll try to multi-stream some of these protests. Be safe out there. Talk to you later.